Greetings, fellow shipbuilders. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts, episode 23, Collecting Fusion Components. At the start of the stream, we are going to decide about how to achieve our goals. So I've updated the goals for this series in the details, and the overarching goal of this specific stream is to build a fusion-capable ship, travel to Venus, and obtain citizenship. Meaning building a fusion engine and doing a torch drive transfer burn from Ganymede, which is I've been mistaken in the last stream. Ganymede, this isn't Ganymede of Jupiter. This is Ganymede, a named asteroid, a small one floating around Earth, near Earth. But transfer burn from Ganymede over to Venus to buy citizenship. Where exactly we become a citizen can be left up to you. I am leaning on I'd prefer to be a citizen of K-Leg, but that could be, of course, left up to you. So here's the thing. There are two ways to go about building a fusion-capable ship, and there they are above my head. We can either upgrade the current ship that we have in order to become fusion-capable, which would require installing and salvaging a lot of floors, walls, etc., or I can buy and fix up a larger derelict. One or the other, both is totally fine by me. So I'm going to leave that up for 5 minutes in the polls. And whatever the case is, what we need to be doing is hopping from ship to ship to look for the parts for fusion. So I did want to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to disappear for a moment, as is the poll above my head. This is the bare minimum requirements for a fusion reactor. It's not to say that this is all that we should be looking for. For instance, I would like to get 2 pellet feeders, not 1, and 2 lasers, not 1, and as many helium tanks as I can, HE3 tanks, probably up to 5, because the fuel usage from heavy water to helium is more of like a 5-to-1 ratio. Than a 1-to-1 ratio. But while we are salvaging ships, I want to be grabbing the parts required for fusion and storing them so that when we have a space to install fusion on our new ship, we can do so. All right. So let's get started. As you can see here in the finance manager, we are still a little bit in debt. We haven't paid it off. We have to wait till the end of shift, I believe. So what I'm planning on doing is just getting back out in the boneyard and salvaging. What region? Oh, I'm in the commerce region. That's not where I want to be. Back to the port. So if indeed we end up salvaging, buying a larger derelict, the other thing while we salvage ships, hopping from ship to ship, is to look for where to look for like a decent sized ship that would suit our needs. I'm gonna have to ferry over to Megan. Megan is let me hit caps lock, which is the swap. Megan is over here. What, sample text? What is going on with that? All right. Oh, it just disappeared pretty quickly. All right, so Let's Pull the Audience is floating over here. Yeah, I need a ferry over to the ship. So I think what I want to do is I want to get Megan to move towards something new. And so that we could salvage it while I ferry over. Now, there was the idea that I return to the first 2 ships that I ever made landfall to, if I can find them. They might be in the shadow of the moon, they might have orbited away. I'm not really sure where they are exactly. But let's see if we can find the Thundering Topiary or the Brevity ship. But likely, I'm just going to go whatever's closest. Yeah, alright, I'm just going to go with whatever's closest. So let's hit up this ship over here. So Megan, please do the transfer burn. Can you fuse two ships together? Not permanently. No. What you can do is you can tow one ship with the other if you have a towing brace installed on your airlock, but it doesn't actually combine them. And then when they're towed together, the two airlocks are combined, which means you also don't dock anywhere. So it's possible to do stuff like that, but that's probably not exactly what you're asking. Can we fix up the luxury liner for a fusion-capable ship? No. I mean, functionally, yes, but the price tag of buying that luxury liner is really expensive. And I'll be talking about what I think is a fusion-capable ship in a minute, when I'm not busy with other things. But basically, that would be a horrible ship to use. Horrible. Because it's massive. It's heavy. And therefore, the fuel costs to move it around would be stupid. Unaffordably stupid, to be blunt. If you want to transfer, if you want to move around the world, you don't want a giant mega yacht, because there's no way to make enough money moving a giant mega yacht around, is the TLDR. All right, let's go with ferrying over to Let's Poll the Audience for 400 bucks. Sure, will do. Is multiple airlocks possible? No. Or can you have two? So, yeah, I'm going to be focusing on answering questions that are relevant to what I'm currently working on. So if your questions are spoilers or out of scope of what I'm currently working on, I'm just not going to answer them, to be blunt. All right, so Megan's trying to fall asleep. And we are headed to the next salvage job. And it looks to me like we are going to be shopping for a larger ship. So we want to pay off debt. It'd be great if I could spell debt correctly. And then pay off debt, hoard fusion parts, and shop around for a larger derelict to make into a fusion capable ship. Done. I probably don't need garbage on the ground. We have a lot of like random trash all about. One thing I know I need to do on this character is repair up the Bingham battery at some point that I've got, because it's all sorts of mushed up. So I might as well just do that now. It's going to lower its charge. Basically, the more damage the battery, the less charge it can handle. So as you can see here, its charge capabilities are just getting ruined as I repair it, more or less. But, you know, that's to be expected. And yes, you can have multiple doors that exit to space, but you can only have one airlock. And here's why. Airlocks can be opened or restored. They can't be dismantled. They can't be uninstalled. They're the only part that really just can't be uninstalled. You can think of it as like the anchor or the core block of your entire ship. Without it, your ship does not exist. All right, we are 7 minutes out of whatever this point of interest is, and let's try to re-find Brevity or Thundering Topiary, which were the... And they might be on the other side of the moon. I don't see them. But those were the ships with the law enforcement officer on them and the pirate on them. It'd be interesting to revisit them. But yeah, I don't see them anywhere, so I'm not going to worry about that. Well, I guess while we wait, I will start auto-repairing. Because there's still... Oh, don't go... Okay. I was going to like, don't go out the airlock. Yeah. Alright, a lot of the stuff that's on the ground is, like, damaged, but that doesn't really matter. We'll put the conduits down. I'll keep the trash on me. So I have 2 batteries at both, like, partial charge. But I have lots of oxygen. That's not much of an issue. So the conduit stacks are getting repaired. The dolly's all fixed up. Actually, it never wasn't. It's been fixed up for a while now. Now, your character's relatively smart in that if you're not wearing a helmet, you usually won't go outside to start restoring the parts that are outdoors. But it looks like all the parts outdoors are all restored anyway. So, I think we're good on that front. How about my social needs while we wait? Intimacy yearning? Let's long for a better love life then. Now, the game just had an update like yesterday, so some of these colors are a little bit different than you might be used to. That's annoying, being on map control other than the RC. I mean, I know that's my fault. But I was like, hey, why is my map panning? Oh yeah, that's me. Alright, lining up my bearing and slowing down a little bit for the docking. And let's see what we got. Hopefully it has some fusion parts, so we can start collecting them. It is a Lunamax EOE or E0E. Okay, that's hopeful. Now both Megan and I are tired. I think what I'm going to do, it is 11. I am going to put Megan on a sleep schedule so she gets more restorative sleep while I work this shift. Got some O2 cans, a hell of a lot of trash. You know what? I'm just going to add to the trash. There we go. I like how there's just like water on the floor. Oop, you spilled, you slipped, and your ship broke. So this doesn't really have much. So I'll take whatever I think can be flipped for $1 or $2, leave the rest. Let's pop open some of the bins. You never know what you're going to find in bins. One of the things that I'm most looking for in bins would be textbooks, so that we can read. If we do build so talking about the long-term goals might be a good one. If we end up wanting to do a transfer burn from where we are over to Venus in order to buy citizenship, there is a lot of travel time involved, and not all that travel time is necessarily going to be downtime, because when you are more in deep space, you end up getting somewhat pummeled by micrometeorites, and as a net result of that, you will have to regularly repair your ship. Now, there's ways to prevent a lot of damage. One of the ways, for instance, would be to add cargo pods to the side of your ship, or to double wall it, or things like that. But my greater point is, we're going to be busy, but we'll have a lot of downtime too. And it's going to be probably best if we have things to do, like exercise equipment or books, so that we can better ourselves during the trip. Let's talk about the data card right now. So there's a data card here in the cabinet. So if I grab, in this bin, rather, if I grab this data card, I can transfer files around. This is something I didn't do in the last stream, but I wanted to show it. So here's the data card. It has nothing in it, so never mind. But normally what you'd be allowed to do is you could move files from the data card to your PDF. That is true of other PDFs. That's also true of nav consoles. One of the reasons why I don't do it for a nav console is when you sell the nav console, you also sell the data on it. So it's not exactly all that important to do in terms of a nav console, because the data is going to be sold anyway. Now, if we are shopping around for a better ship, some of the rarer parts that are hard to find, hard to source, like, for instance, this O2 alarm, might be good to take. It's not very expensive. We can't flip it for money, but they're kind of a pain to find out in the wild. So, grabbing one while we're here is kind of nice. They also changed it that left alt will highlight items now. It used to be on the like 9 key or whatever, and they changed it so that it's more intuitive and easier to use, which is kind of nice. No, just pocket it. Why would you pick it up and drag it? It's a little sensor. At this point, I don't really need air pumps. Like, I'm not desperate for money, and that doesn't flip for enough, and I'll eventually get air pumps for the new ship, so I'm not concerned about that. Alright, let's check this other broken section, but I doubt there's anything of value in here. No, not really. Okay. There is a broken thruster. Yeah, I guess I'll repair it. So on a new ship, you're gonna, like, whatever derelict we end up trying to flip to be able to turn into fusion capable, we'll want at least one thruster on it so that it can kind of limp around from ship to ship to improve itself. It's also worth noting that this ship in particular has a bunch of light framework parts. This was like a mostly a light framework ship, which means that we could salvage the floors and the walls for this. I don't think I'm going to for this specific ship. Generally, you can find larger ships that are more intact with light framework stuff, making it a little bit easier to... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Making it a little bit easier to have a large supply of light framework items. The light framework items are just a little bit lighter than the regular stuff, but just as hardy, meaning that they're pretty choice when you're trying to do light ships. As I said at the start of the stream, when you're doing torch drive burns or even RCS burns, the more massive your ship, the slower and more fuel that you're going to use. Well, not necessarily. So it's definitely in our best interest to try to build light for that exact reason. All right. Well, let's undock from this thing. We didn't really get much, but maybe the next one. Always maybe the next one. That's just how it goes. Yeah, kind of bugged out where it doesn't have a silhouette. And we're very close to this next ship, so it's going to be just like a 1-minute burn. At some point, I'm keeping an eye on my RCS fuel because I know that we're going to need to refuel sooner or later. And yeah, when I say weight, I mean mass. Obviously, we're in space, but the more massive your ship is, the more fuel it takes to move it around. So you don't want to have you want to build as basically as small as you can to get the job done, because unnecessary mass gets expensive. The VJK3L. Are you going to be a decent ship? It's not, well, it's relatively large, I think. I docked about 100 away. Yeah, it's a Titan Max. Decent size. I don't really have a good place to store all my, like, spare parts. Oh. There's been likely some murders here. There's a lot of PDFs, so I'll be able to show you the transfer files. This is a Lux ship. This has luxury walls and floors. It has a bunch of it has a bunch of patches. Now, when you're doing transfer burns to other planets, you can either repair things or patch things. I don't like to use patch kits, so I don't. If you use racks and bins for part storage, will your pawn pull them to do repairs? Yes. The only thing you wouldn't pull from is if you, like, locked a bin. So, like, these crates, for instance, can be combination locked, and you wouldn't automatically walk up to them to unlock from a combination. Or if you were forbidden from a zone, So if you had a zone where people were forbidden from interacting with it, you wouldn't pull from that either. So if you do want to have your crew automatically repair things, but leave a certain supply alone, like emergency supplies, you can always lock the supplies or forbid them from being near the supplies or lock a door to the supplies. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. Because this is a luxury ship, I'm inclined to poke around all their racks and bins. Usually wealthy ships have good stuff in the racks, but so far this one's just been a bust. Yeah, there's some light framework. So here you can see the difference. Light framework walls, these walls are 20 mass a piece, and maybe I find if we take a look at the regular walls, these are like fancy walls, so they're going to be what, 25 maybe? I forget what they are exactly. $27. So a pretty big difference between the luxury and regular. Okay, so here's another data card. Let's see if there's anything on it. Nope, it's another blank. Come on, big treasure galley. Show me that you're worth something. Broken bottles, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Thanks, game. Bunch of stools. This was some sort of meeting room. Wow, sinks galore. Oh my god. Do I need water? I don't even know. My canteen has a little space for something. That's another thing, is if you're doing a fusion burn, you're going to need, like, multiple days worth of food and water and things like that. So at some point, I'm going to want to buy, like, a mega canteen, unless I can find one. Or a few mega canteens and a lot of food. It's a relatively expensive thing to do, but it's also entirely possible to have a job that pays quite well. So my guess is their fusion reactor was here and it blew up. That's what this kind of looks like. Oh no, it's over here. There's fusion coils. Perfect. They're broken. There's also a cryo pump and a core pump broken, but that's a start. That is absolutely a start. Repairing that in just a minute. I'm just going to poke around a little bit more. So instead of actually picking up the PDFs, because they don't sell for a ton, I'm going to grab the data. So what I'm doing here is there's like three wolf moons. That's funny. Contacts, diamonds censored, roster, vidlog, and I'm transferring it from the PDF I just unlocked to my own PDF, or PDA rather, I keep saying F, in order to sell that stuff once I get back into port. Wow, there's a lot of PDAs and dead people here. You are a shipbreaker, you are a shipbreaker, you are a law enforcement officer, and you are a shipbreaker. I don't know what happened, but it sounds like it was very fun. Someone had a lot of fun without me. Does Megan need a PDA? I mean, maybe, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about, like, big ticket items. PDAs are cheap. So I really don't much matter. What I'm trying to do here is flip this around to get some lights here. The PDAs help to illuminate a little bit, but this battery head's... No, I guess there's no lights hooked up to that. I could examine the dead bodies. If I'm going to examine any dead body, it would probably be the law enforcement officer. People are a little bit more concerned about what happens to Leo than regular shipbreakers. Shipbreakers die dime a dozen, I suppose. Which is sad, but true. True reality of this game, right? Oh, whoops. I have to pick where it transfers. How far into this game am I? About 14 and a half hours. Well, for as nice of a ship as this is, and however many hairy muscles JPEG, oh god, I am surprised there isn't more stuff. And I'll pick one of these up for Megan. So this could be Megan's. So this is just another shipbreaker. I don't think I missed much. This would not be a good contender of a ship to flip because it's made of a bunch of heavy parts. So I'm not interested in buying this one. Plus, because it's a luxury ship, it's probably way out of our price point. Because that's the other thing, is we have to buy the legal ownership of the ship. And that ain't happening when it's Lux priced. Alright, so let's start repairing the other parts. So we have a thermostat, a cooler, and then the core parts, and bring them back to our ship. We already have a cooler installed on ours, right? Yeah, we have a cooler. One thing that's important to note, and I'm not sure I said it like last stream, but I'll say it again anyway, is if you repair like something like a cooler, like this cooler, and you intend to install it, make sure to restore it a little bit. Because what would end up happening if you didn't restore it first is the moment you install it, it would have some wear and tear from just regular use and then like break again. So you probably don't want to immediately break the thing that you're trying to get. So it's definitely in your best interest to restore it a little so that it's in working condition. One of the other things I wanted to point out is the function of rooms. So if we are trying to buy a derelict ship, it's probably worth mentioning that to go over the room designations. So here they are. In this game, different rooms have different requirements. So for instance, a reactor room requires pressurization and it needs an IC reactor. A bridge that is closed requires a nav station, is forbidden from having RCS, recreation items, wellness items, toilet, IC reactor, or bed, and it requires pressurization, so on and so forth. Now, the big thing about this is there is a minimum size requirement, and then there is, of course, the value modifier. So, for instance, if you have a reactor room, or a better example would be if you have a wellness room that doesn't meet requirements, it will be worth less than a wellness room that does meet requirements. So if you have a wellness room where you put a toilet in it, it's not going to get that value modifier of 1.9. So when you're trying to flip ships for sale, if you think you can have designated rooms like this, you can increase the value of the things in that many-fold. Of course, it does require pressurization, but that's a really, really good way of making oodles and oodles and oodles of money. I just wanted to point that out because it's very likely that whatever derelict that we buy will likely have to, save up some money for it. And in doing so, flipping ships and using the room designations to our advantage might be a really good way of going about making money. How did I get that to come up? That's just part of my stream overlay. That's not built into the game. That would be the wiki. So the fusion parts that I'm unlocking right now, the core pump creates a vacuum in your fusion reactor. The cryo pump cools your fusion reactor, and your field coils contains the fusion reaction. Whenever I loot a part, I'll try to explain in roughly layman's terms what the things do. And again, here is the full list for fusion. So I'm almost certainly going to get 2 field coils off of this job here. I'm going to get the core pump and the cryo pump off of this ship. So there's a good amount of fusion stuff here. Probably the most challenging, I'd imagine, will be the most challenging to get will be the helium tanks, as they are. I probably want 4 or 5 of them, and they're relatively rare. Everything else will probably get pretty early on, I'd imagine. All right, what didn't we have? Okay, there we go. No? I'm trying to figure out why I'm not repairing the, like, what items are missing for the field coils. So my character's just, like, standing around like an idiot. Sometimes, field coils are, like, not there. They're bugged out. You want to install them and they disappear. And the fact that I can't reach the field coil assembly indicates that that might be true. I might uninstall these. Oh, no. They're here. So, you see how it says field coils 2? Field coils requires 2 pieces to be combined in order to operate. So it's not that I have 2 sets of field coils, it's 1 field coil broken up into 2 individual parts. And then, after I drag this stuff back to the ship, I will do, one last search, making sure that, I've picked up everything of relevance here. Now, field coils are too large to go onto the dolly, but at least the other 2 things will. I may want the battery too. Well, nah, batteries don't sell that great. I'm sure I'll have batteries for the next ship. It's not a big ask. This is gonna get cramped though, that's for sure. But I can drop things off at K-Leg as I acquire parts. And just essentially store them strewn about K-Leg. That's not a problem. Treat K-Leg like our warehouse. Claustrophobia Tetris? Yeah. Yeah, basically. Alright, one last search, making sure things of value wasn't left behind, like a CO2 scrubber or something. I'll investigate the death of the Leo, of the law enforcement officer. I don't really need N2 cans, don't care about that yet. So, examine dead body of the law enforcement officer. They were fatally poisoned. Quit trying to envy their beauty, that's creepy. It's because my intimacy is, like, terrible. So, the killer is female. They does not make a living through typical methods. She was working for AOSEC. Kind of knew that already. She was law enforcement. Killer grew up on or around Mars, so they aren't a K-Leg native. Got it. And that's about all that we could find. Okay. Alright, let's do one last loot search. Should I go up here? There's nothing up there. Maybe I'll take a thermostat. Really? I can't find small parts electronic? Yeah, you kidding? So here's the case file for her death. I also looted a grav pen, or a G-lock pen, which allows you to sustain higher G-forces, which we're going to want a whole bunch of those if we do a torch drive transfer burn over to Venus, so that we can travel faster. Oh, you know what? I don't even see the small electronic parts on my ship, so yeah. We really... Alright, I'll uninstall that thermostat for later, but apparently we won't be able to repair it. Cheaper items like sinks and the like, I'm not going to bother with either. Oh, here's another PDF. Or A. God, acronyms. Suck with acronyms. And my guess is I'm going to make more money off of data brokering than I am the parts to sell, because I got a lot of PDA files here. Oh, I don't like error logs. Wait, where are you going? I did not tell you to do that. That was really strange. This ship does have a lot of sinks. Oh, nice! A robotic engineering textbook. That is fantastic. That makes all of this stupid search that I've done so far worth it. It is possible to buy textbooks once you're, Oh, and a fusion manual. Oh, and it's in good condition. Also, Forlorn Hope, Anonymous Gifter, and Bell. Thank you for the gifted subs. And Airdog for the resub. So, here's the fusion manual, and we can read this so that you guys can figure out fusion. But this is the start checklist. This is the things to verify before you start. This is the cold start checklist to run through, and I'll be demonstrating this once we actually have a reactor. But in this, we have the standard reactor components to list. So we got the field coil assembly, we got the cryo pump, and then we got the core pump. Of the fusion reactor. I'm not certain I searched through all bins, but I don't see any other obviously very expensive thing sitting around on this boat here. So let's shove off. My character's eager to get out of this stupid helmet. So robotics engineering. I am 10% trained on robotics engineering. Speaking of which, here we go. Here is the skills. So here are the different skills that you can have: civil engineering, combat engineering, construction, electrical, mechanical, robotics, software, etc. And if you're wondering, robotics engineering gives you a repair speed bonus for controls and sensors. So if we leveled that up, controls and sensors aren't all that important, but, you know, repairing everything a little bit faster is kind of nice, I think. I'm going to hold on to the manual for fusion. If you all... the other thing is, if you want manuals, you can always go into the escape menu for the user's manuals, and here's all the manuals, so you don't actually need to physically have them in-game, right? Because they're in the escape menu. So at some point, I'll probably sell that, but I don't need to sell that right now. Thank you for tuning in to Ostranauts, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 11th and January 12th as a marathon, continuing where we left off in the December marathon of Ostranauts as well. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, people that turned out to join in on the marathon, and also viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow astronauts.